is the time to also enlist your help. If there's areas that you have suggestions, or if you're not part of any of these collaborative efforts, and we have a number of them, you're welcome to be part of it. And so now you asked to speak, and I'd like to turn it over to you guys, and what are the issues that, now that you know what we're doing, have
sure,
at us.
Sure, okay. And no, this isn't, I'm not trying to immediately attack everybody in the room or anything like that, which maybe you're feeling that way, but
Not at all.
it's more, I think, also just trying to educate people from the perspective of a homeless person, since I've lived there among them and experienced kind of what happens sometimes. I think there's ignorance on both sides, because a lot of you haven't been homeless, possibly, and so you don't really know what it's like to be on the street like that, and what you deal with as far as public opinion, police. It's not all. There's some police that are great out there, that have done great work. And then there's others that they basically kind of dehumanize you, or treat you like a criminal just because you're poor. Seems like one time, what's that? Yeah. And I was actually in front of the library one time. It was maybe like 4:30 in the morning, and the officer actually, because I filed a report about complaint about this, and the officer actually said he was going to talk to that officer about what they did, but I was frisked. I was asked a bunch of questions and treated like I just robbed a bank, or I'm a suspect of some crime, and I'm just, and the park opens at 5 a.m. So I'm sitting there in front of the library, and it's cold out. I'm just sitting there waiting for the park to open, and I try not to break any laws or anything. In the city of Anaheim, there's really nowhere for you to go. If you have especially in that area, as you know, there's no single shelter for single adults and that kind of thing. So I'm sitting there just trying to abide by the law, and I'm going to go in the park once it opens, and all this has happened. And I'm like going, wow, why can't they just say, hey, do you need any help? Or, I'm not breaking any laws. No one called the police on me. And it seemed like they were just kind of bored at the time and just figured I'd go see, see if we can find something on this guy. And I wasn't doing anything wrong. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, for me, it's just something that I know that other homeless people are experiencing, that kind of thing. And not all police are like that. And I know that other officers have come by and been really nice and say, hey, you need something? They got Cliff Bars in their car or whatever, and they're offering that to me. And there's one officer, I think it's Officer Craig, I think his name is. You guys know who he is? Officer Craig, Scott Craig, I believe. Yeah, great. He does amazing work out there. Love that guy, and some of you too. It's not like I'm pointing the fingers at every officer, but one time I was out in Maxwell Park, and the community comes out from the library, and I guess they got this flashlight day or whatever. They go out there with the residents, and they're flashing all their flashlights in the park at night, and they come to the homeless, and they're doing the same thing, and the homeless are kind of feeling like, wow, for one thing, a lot of them are ashamed to be there in the first place. Now we got the community residents coming out flashing flashlights on everybody. And then the officer comes to me, I believe it was Officer Hampton's, like, if you guys don't get out of here by 10:30, you're all going to jail. I mean, is that the kind of city of kindness that we're supposed to be, that's not city of kindness to me, which is supposedly what Anaheim is supposed to be about. And so me and Hampton had quite a talk about that, and I just was like, what? We all know the law out here. You don't have to be, coming at us like that. And another time I was in the park, an officer rolled up and said, and I got this on video, comes up and says to the homeless people, that, hey, you guys, what? She was actually asking what time it was, and to the officer in a polite way, and the officer's like, it's time for you to leave. And it's like 7 p.m. in the park. Where are they supposed to go? You know what I mean? And they have a right to be there. So, and these are just certain officers, and it's not like all of them are like that, but I'm just saying that I think part of it is possibly a dehumanizing of some of the homeless. Sometimes I think sometimes some of the officers like, well, they're all the same, they're all drug addicts, they're all this, we got to hammer them, we got to get them out of here. And that's the wrong mentality, because if they're part of this city and part of this community, you got to come at them a different approach, a little more humble, I think, and not all officers are like that, but that's just something that I think there's ignorance on that as far as what's happening. And I've tried to make people aware of that, from a position of being as a homeless person by choice. I used to be a math teacher for almost 4 years, and then God called me to travel and minister on the streets, and I've been doing this for many years, since 2002, and experienced a lot of this kind of, treatment. So my question is, could we provide a safe zone or something like that where people could sleep, and make sure that it's a sober safe zone, make sure that there's a safe place, and that we have security there, of course, of some sort, not a place where they can just sit there and shoot up, or, I'm not in any way trying to advocate that or support that, but if people are just trying to exist, and it's very difficult if you're homeless in Anaheim to just exist as far as sleeping. Because you go to a park, you're going to get a ticket. If you go outside of a park, they're going to call the police on you and be like, hey, you can't be here in this business or whatever, because where else are you going to go? You got to go to some other private property that hopefully they're not going to call the police on you. And then there's people sleeping in cars, and then I got a friend of mine that he was actually frisked, and he's just trying to, be out of the way and sleep on his car on the sidewalk. He pulled over to the side, and he's just trying to get some rest, and he gets frisked and pulled out of his car, and it's like it just does a constant attack, on people that are just trying to exist at night. And they can't just disappear from 10:30 to 5 or 6 a.m. when the park reopens. They have to have somewhere to go. It's just a real simple solution, and that's what they did in the city of Miami. The case was Pottinger versus City of Miami, but they actually created a safe zones. They did a class action lawsuit, the ACLU versus the city of Miami, and it was that case Pottinger versus City of Miami. But anyways, they won, and they ended up creating safe zones for the homeless to sleep. And it was quoted that you cannot be harassing or ticketing for quote unquote life sustaining activities, whether it be brushing your teeth or going to sleep in a public space. Yeah, that kind of stuff. And you see that in other cities right now where they're trying to criminalize people for feeding the homeless and that kind of stuff. So I'm hoping that Anaheim could kind of be on the front of actually creating a more progressive city that kind of intervenes in the situation versus just attacks people that are poor. I mean, I don't see why you can't come up with a couple parking lots, and at least let people sleep there, because they're going to sleep somewhere. Bottom line, they're going to have to sleep somewhere, and they're going to sleep somewhere. They're either going to sleep in the park, or they're going to sleep at a business. Just give them somewhere to go, an option. And that's why I used to tell police, they'd come on me, and I'd be sleeping somewhere. Well, where can I go? One officer did a great job. Know what she did? She took all my stuff, put it in the car, and drove me all the way to Buena Park, where the church there lets you sleep, outside their church. I said, wow, that was cool of her to do that. She didn't just, too bad, just go somewhere. She actually tried to solve the problem, and that was really cool. And some people need help like that. Another officer, I was actually in a private area because we can't sleep in the park, so we're sleeping outside in a private area. And he says, well, I asked him, can we sleep in the park? I mean, and he's like, yeah, go ahead. I know it's against the law, and you probably frown on that maybe, but at least he gave an option, and then no one got hurt. No property was damaged. We slept in the park. We had peace that night. And actually, right now, they're trying to get this California Homeless Bill of Rights passed, where it will be legal to sleep in public spaces, including parks. So, I mean, that's progressive to me, and it kind of helps to solve some of the issues, and it would relieve the police of having to deal with some of the silly stuff, like going to people that are sleeping outside. I mean, why can't they be worrying about people that have guns or something like that, or that are really going to hurt somebody? You know what I mean? Why waste all their time and taxpayer money doing these types of things? And I think that maybe a little tweaking some of the laws might help to bring a relief to the police and what they have to do, and maybe not all the residents will be happy with the changes, but you're going to have to pay either way. You either have to pay with taxpayer money through having the police do all this stuff, through hospital visits, because people are getting sick out there and they can't stay healthy because they're getting shoved around everywhere and losing all their stuff all the time. There's going to be hospital bills. There's going to be police money spent. Or if you can create a safe area for them to sleep, and then pool the resources there, kind of like an interim until you get that shelter going, because right now there's no shelter. So I mean, I really am encouraging something to be created in the interim until that shelter arrives.
And that would help. I think would help some of this 5,000 calls per month if
exactly
calls could be, then the area could be focused on one area.
Yeah.
So you guys aren't running around all over Tarnations answering all these calls on, that pop up because they have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
They're focused, and the call's going to be to the same place.
Exactly.
I don't know
Maybe
exactly, but
when I checked around, the holidays was really cold, or about 3 weeks ago. The Armory in Fullerton, as far as I know, hasn't ran out of bed space. Maybe someone can correct me if I'm wrong. At night, I don't think they've ever, that I know of yet, turned people away because they've been overbooked. So
Well,
There
the
is
Mercy
still a-
House representative said that at our last meeting, which was last Wednesday, he said we have not turned anyone
Yeah.
away from the shelter
I
since
didn't
we
think
opened
so.
in.
So there is a place that exists,
Yeah.
and there's transportation from La Palma Park.
There you go.
There is an issue, if they weren't able to check in their stuff. I've
The
talked to a lot of
property
homeless
thing
too.
again.
I don't wanna lose my stuff. There's no one I really trust to leave it with.
Exactly.
Sometimes leave with a friend. Hey, I'm gonna go to the arm, will you watch my stuff? I said, hey, I don't have a friend that I trust it with, so I'm not gonna go. I mean,
Yeah.
that's an issue that, you're right, but the Armory, we need to really encourage people until, cause this, even if this works, it's not gonna get worked out right now, to go, especially while it's cold, to get in somewhere safe.
Yeah, well, yeah, like the Army, I've talked to some of the people, and one of the reasons they don't want to go there is because it's so far from, you know, what they want to do or what they're doing as far as maybe they got family ties closer to this area, like maybe by Maxwell Park or whatever. They don't want to, like, lose their things also. They're worried about that as far as going back and forth.
We're shooting to another city. We're talking about Anaheim.
Yeah,
Anaheim.
yeah.
But
But
the
yeah,
bus brings it back real
yeah.
early in the morning, though. It's early.
And
before
that's
they get
another
out.
issue, the
Supporting
timing.
that shelter for
Yeah.
a couple of decades
That's
now,
awesome.
so this isn't
And the
anything
Mercy
new.
House,
It's
the
just
Mercy
needs to
House
be year-round.
representatives are here? Someone from there, or anybody from Mercy House,
No,
or you
Mercy,
are?
Mercy House isn't here today.
Okay.
But it's safe. It's
Yeah,
safe.
because the
and
Mercy
it's a safe
House,
place, and
yeah.
it's warm, and you know you could get something to eat, and it's
Yeah.
there may be a little bit of inconvenience, but it's a safe place.
Yeah, the problem is the transportation. A lot of them don't have bus passes. It'd be great if there was a bus that would take people from Maxwell Park there, you know, because yeah, a lot of them don't have bus passes to go all the way there and back and all that kind
And
of
that's
stuff.
the other thing, like you said, yeah, everything is hard when you're on the
Yeah.
streets, man, just to get one thing done, even if you had to go,
It's a
say to go.
full-time, being homeless is a full-time job.
Just
Yeah.
trying to
Like
do
looking for a
anything
job
that
is a
normally
full-time
people would,
job,
just to
being-
brush your teeth is
Yeah,
ridiculous, just to try
Yeah.
to find a place to spit your,
yeah.
the white, you know, everything's harder.
Yeah, and one suggestion I had too is if we could get a bus shuttle for them to get showers at the Salvation Army, because they know that the Salvation Army provides showers, but how are they going to get down there, especially from Maxwell Park or Trial of Reed, let's say, you know, and that's another issue. One of the main issues as far as there's resources in various areas or maybe even outside the city, but do they have transportation there, and is it very efficient? And a lot of times they don't have a bus pass, or there's no shuttle bus unless you're right there next to it, like whether it be at Palma Park or
Even
whatever.
bus pass, when you got a shopping cart full of stuff.
And
you got a
yeah, that
shopping
too,
cart
yeah.
full of bus pass, I mean,
Yeah, it's really hindering them. Yeah.
Look, we're working with a couple other units in our police department to come up with a homeless incentive reward program, okay? So, I don't know what it's gonna look like, but the gist is, we catch you doing something good, we catch you wearing your safety equipment while you're riding your bike, we catch you crossing the street using the crosswalk and not jaywalking, we catch you in a park not drinking and not using drugs. Thank you. And I punch your card after 5-6 punches or stickers or whatever we come up with. Here's a bus pass. Here's a food card.
That's great.
Here's a pair of socks. Here's some clothes.
Mm.
We're working on doing that, but at the same time, I need some cooperation. So I need you to abide by the laws and not be in the parks at night, because these are the reasons that the folks call us. We don't just go out there and look for people. I got a lot better things to do than writing an infraction ticket at 2:30 in the morning at a park. So we're complaint driven. We're out there because the community is asking us to be out there. Okay, so we're devising an incentive program to do just that. You behave, you abide by the laws, so I don't have to be called out there. You're rewarded. We're working on that. That's coming up with Coast to Coast here shortly.
Great.
So you
We're
might see
also,
those.
and we're also actively working toward trying to get that year-round shelter. But these things, I mean, government wheels generally grind pretty slowly anyway.
Yeah.
These guys down here work with a lot of different governing agencies. Do we move pretty quickly in Anaheim based on your experience with other cities? Yeah, yeah, I'm proud of that, you know, I mean, because we're serious about engaging this issue.
I guess my issue is it's great that incentive program is happening. I think that's awesome. But the thing is, if someone is newly on the streets and they don't have, I guess, a history to get those punches, and they don't have a bus pass, they're still going to be having to sleep somewhere.
Joshua, we're out there every week, one night, every week, with Coast to Coast and City Net doing outreach. We only have a 3-hour block of time, so we try to hit the populations
Sure.
where we have they're most concentrated.
And I love that reward approach, because one of the biggest complaints I get from officers is, well, my job is to write tickets. My job is to do this. And, well, the officer, let's just say, like any business, he's gotta write 10 tickets. Well, that's because it's his job. If suddenly his job is to write 6 tickets and reward 4 people, and the city receives the same financial benefit.
It's never, I don't think it's really about financial.
No, but I mean, just as a business line, and I apologize for bringing that up, because that's not the ideal here. We're not talking dollars and cents. He has made beyond belief that have been described just on this table and that I've seen in the news and I see every day when I walk on the streets.
But what you're trying to say is the paradigm shifts a little bit from what their job responsibility is. Instead of doing this, they're doing something that's a little more helpful, which would encourage the whole growth of this whole.
Right, so Pastor Scott brings up a good point, because, mind you,
mental.
our homeless outreach team, is not really a team, it's a duo. We have one sergeant and one officer.
God bless you.
Now, we do have a homeless liaison officer.
Thomas went through.
Yep.
Now, the whole time I'm thinking, okay, this guy's wrong, he thinks I'm homeless, he thinks I have some other issue. At least the recordings will be there, and even if I don't make it, the truth will be there. Over 6 officers responded, not one recording. Everything that this officer did led to him wanting to kill me. I mean, sure, you could come up with something that doesn't follow that chain of thought, but the recording's not there, never asked me my name. Again, I thought the internal affairs would take care of this. This would all be taken care of smoothly and easily. I'd be represented with the recording or the fact that there was no recording. Nobody knows. Nobody knows that I have a voice and that I'm supposed to be represented in this matter. So I have a resisting arrest charge. My attorney never told me about a court date, and he didn't go either, so I have a failure to appear. And then I have another arrest by an officer not wearing a camera, not wearing a nameplate, didn't know who I was, gets me to the jail. I give him my name. He looks me up on his phone, reads the newspaper article by Frank Nicodiet about my volunteer work. I explained the first arrest. The officer became very concerned and would not leave my side until I was safely in my cell. The first arrest, I do owe a note of appreciation that the officers who responded took the time to assess what was going on and didn't just rush up and kick my ass like they did in Santa Ana with Mr. Arzadeh or with Kelly Thomas over a year ago. So there is a huge step of improvement in the quality of services.
Mm-hmm.
But I think until the officers all wear their cameras and record their full day, as it's been promised, my representation's not there. I'm out over $250,000 in bail because of this arrest. The officer joked that because I filed a complaint against a judge who didn't know the law, this is what happens, which is again a violation of my First Amendment right to petition the government free of, for redress of grievances, free of retaliation. Both of these arrests were in retaliation for my First Amendment rights to speak out. And there's no recording of this, so I am not represented when I go to court. My attorney's already told me to take a plea, saying that the officer was acting lawfully. The officer's not acting lawfully. He wasn't recording the interaction. I have friends in high-ranking, military, government, police, sheriff, relatives. I've been doing termite work for over 20 years in Orange County. I have over 200 customers over 20 years. I've worked for over 2,000 people. So I do know a lot of people. And I'm not trying to call any of them to the table, and not one of them will stand up or speak or use their color of authority to stop or protect me. And that's not their place. I'd expect that the city of Anaheim would start protecting not only themselves, because I can't think of anything worse for a person to say about an officer than he said, "You're going to find out where Kelly Thomas went." And that officer should have a recording to defend himself against anyone saying it. Unfortunately, that's what happened. I'd rather not ever have to say that. I'd rather be able to say, hey, walked up to me, asked me my name, decided he wanted to take me into custody, took me into custody. I'm not out on over $250,000 bail that my family has to pay, and I have to pay. Homelessness, I wish I could be at zero.
Well, and that's something I think we all share. I mean, your own individual circumstances, I can't comment on that. What
No,
can
I realize,
say
and
is-
I'm not expecting, I mean, I of course would love an answer and to have it taken care of right now. I've spent over a year begging, emailing all the council members, the mayor, screaming bloody murder at my attorney. I've got 2 other attorneys who want to sue him for malpractice because he's completely botched this.
You know, I can't speak to the kind of the policy and the recording issue. Currently, our policy is the digital audio recorder.
Yes.
It needs to be, and our policy is it needs to be recorded. And when we find that it's not, officers are disciplined. I know because like the captains and the chief sit in the group and we get those cases and we decide the discipline.
Okay.
So I can tell you that officers have been disciplined when we find out that things are not recorded. So that's, that's how, I don't know how else to address it. You tell them, here's the rules, and if you don't abide by the rules, you're gonna be punished.
It does leave it open. There's no meat or beef or consequence to this. It just says everything's going to be recorded. And so I would almost think that just like the pills, and I have contracts with people who are on the federal level, and in order for me to get paid, I have to show documentation. I have to show photographs of everything I've done. Or the contract sent back to me and I'm told to go back out and redo it or redocument. I can understand if rape or a murder and you guys show up and there's the gun, there's the guy. You definitely want the recorders playing then, but even if they aren't, you have the material evidence. But my entire crime was resisting arrest. My resisting consisted of standing still while being attacked, tackled, laid out on the ground. The officer moved so that the bounty hunter could tase me.
This really sounds like a personal matter.
It sounds like you did the
But-
right, I mean, I don't
but
know what
it
the outcome's
is-
gonna be. You did that.
Our
No, but
being
my-
here
my
for the
concern
transit
is-
population,
Is
And I-
important. Like,
If the context of this was homeless people having a voice,
it is, and it is that the
I
officers
assure
need
you
to have the
that all of
recorders
these
on,
departments
so
are
that
sitting around this table
because-
are working to that end.
Yeah, we all agree with you on that. Recorders need to be on.
because there's so many great things that the officers are doing that need to be documented. I know it sounds crazy, but right now that one officer singing the Taylor Swift song, okay, that's a horrible example. It's on the YouTube or whatever, but okay.
My God, keep me closer, ever closer to Thee. You set me free, you've taken me far away to my new home, my new land, and here I'll stay. and you give me hope.